And welcome back to my channel. Again, here I am, RJB, ready to cast a magnificent little replay I got from the autosaves. And it's a game between Braingod, who's playing the brown Protoss under the name ma2fa2, and he's up against Daegulife. And Daegulife is also known as Leebokgu, or Gold SCV to all the Western foreign players. And he's on the Terran, the yellow Terran, on the middle left of the map, up against the bottom middle spot where Braingod is located. And this will be a very interesting game, because we haven't really been seeing that many Braingod replays ever, really. I only have a couple of them, because it's very hard to get my hands on his own replays. He doesn't seem to be too keen on sharing them, which I completely understand. But let's get this game rolling. Braingod is a magnificent multitasking player and probably the most efficient clicker I've ever seen in my life. There is not a single wasted click in his entire APM. And back when Chaos Launcher and Root War chart used to be working, this guy would be getting 270, 290 EAPMs. And that is honestly the highest I've ever seen. Even if you include active pro players, I've never seen any of those players get like 300 EAPM or 290 EAPM. So Braingod is definitely the most efficient clicker in the entirety of fastest map. Right now he's spamming away a little bit, but once he gets into the flow, like right after the 3-minute mark, his APM always sticks at around 300, 330, sometimes 360 when he's really tryharding. And there's not a single waste click in there. Every single click is a single click, and it's perfectly accurate. And I don't really see many players that are that accurate and efficient. And it will be a pleasure to see how he manages to apply that accuracy and speed and efficiency into his gameplay. Like, is that what sets him apart, or is it his decision making that sets him apart? Or the efficiency at which he uses his units? Not a single unit is ever wasted. Like this probe, for example, is circling around and round, round and round. Not really being manually controlled. I think it's more a list of shift actions. Right now it gets caught. Daegulife manages to catch it eventually in the right corner of his base. And talking about Daegulife, he's on 3 barracks, just stopped producing from them because he is waiting for his depot to finish. He's waiting for the command center to be on the way. He knows that Braingod went for an early choke, and there's no zealots out there harassing him just yet, so he knows that he's not going for a zealot build to harass, that he started with a single gateway. Cybernetics core is up, and he's going for the Citadel of Adun first. And right afterwards, the robotics facility, so he's flipping the 2 around. Most players will be going for the robotics facility followed by the Citadel of Adun, but not Braingod. He goes for the Citadel of Adun first, followed by the robotics facility. So he will either be going for Dark Templars or maybe something else. All depends on what he's going right now. Will he be throwing down that second robotic facility? Or is he going to stick to just one? Is he going to make a Templars archive? All I do know is that he's on 3 gateways now and he's producing zealots. Whereas Daegulife is now adding on his engineering bay. There's a factory. Depots being thrown down on both sides there. He's got an academy out, so he will be seeing the scan once he decides to go for it. Second command center is finished. He's starting with probes first. He's going to rely on turrets to detect Dark Templars in the case Dark Templars are produced. There's a Templars archive. There's no robotic support bay out. Shuttle is not on the way yet. Zealot speed is on the way though. So I assume he's going for Dark Templars. If he was going for something else, robotic support bay would have already been out, and a shuttle would already be on the way. So he's going to try that frontal Dark Templar attack, which might actually work out in this specific game. There's 2 Dark Templars queued up and a single Templar. Shuttle is now also on the way. Robotic facility is not yet thrown down. Actually, I do think Daegulife could go on the offensive now. I mean, he could have gone on the offensive earlier, because there's only 2 cannons out for Braingod, so he's really risking it, really playing it on the edge defensively. Because Daegulife could have gone aggressive and probably broken through that front really easily. But I think he is fearing Braingod and instead going on the defensive. And this is what can happen when you fear someone. You go on the defensive when the situation might just be good for going on the offensive instead of the defensive. Scan is ready, but hasn't been used yet. Dark Templars being dropped on the side. But they get scanned immediately. One Dark Templar manages to run away. And it escapes. It stays alive. And there are no turrets in this area here. Or area there. So he's just going to go and take down one of these buildings here on the side. He's going for the Academy. Scan is on 33 energy, so the Academy might go down before the scan comes up. It's going to take a couple of more hits. Once the Academy goes down, it's going to hurt for Daegulife, but he moves the Dark Templar away up to the corner. Zealots are placed in the front. Shuttle speed has finished. Cersei is started. I mean, Zealot legs have been finished. Braingod now adding on a lot more gateways, starting the production of Templars and Zealots to attack on the front. He decides to attack now on the front. Zealots come walking in. He's going for the siege tank first, but the siege tank has microed away, so only a bunch of Marines end up going down. Zealots end up being wasted, so he decides to pull back. He doesn't want to waste those last couple of 3 Zealots, but one Zealot might go down soon because it's on 9 HP. Shuttle is going to get loaded up soon with those Templars. Game is looking very good for Daegulife. Daegulife has not sustained any damage within the first 7 minutes. And Braingod has tried to deal some damage, but hasn't really worked out for him. Tanks coming in. Tank is getting a shot off on the probes. About 9 probes went down there. Maybe 7 probes, not too sure. I should have clicked on the tank. But at least he got a couple of probes there. But most of the probes were pulled off the minerals in time. He responded immediately once the dropship came flying into his vision. And his income has been secured, but his probe count is behind on where Daegulife is. Now he's going for the frontal attack. There's a hole in the choke. So his Zealots do get in there, storm on the Marine. Stop all the Marines go down. Marines forced to pull back. More Zealots come streaming in through the choke. There are barely any units at the choke there. Daegulife is going to have to pull his Marines up towards the choke. You should have plugged the hole up. Not plugging the hole up is really, really dangerous because you're going to expose yourself to very easy attacks from the opponent. They will just walk through. Now his shuttle comes while flying in. Daegulife has not spotted it. Templar gets dropped. Daegulife pulls his SCVs off, but 13 SCVs go down to the storm while Daegulife is busy chasing these Zealots around the base. So that's a very nice setup from Braingod, using his Zealots to distract from the drop. Most players do it, but this time it worked out pretty well. And he's re-scouting the base, or just trying to be a dick with that shuttle, forcing Daegulife to pull off even though the shuttle is empty. So even an empty shuttle that's already on low HP does not go to waste. Nice, smart little move from Braingod, using that shuttle. Even though it doesn't really get him much, but it does force Daegulife to pull his SCVs off and lose some mining time. After he had already lost 13 SCVs to the storm drop, having to rebuild the front now is costing him minerals. Having to rebuild Marines is costing him minerals. There was a lot of material and bio damage that Braingod, that Leebokgu, aka Daegulife, would rather not have lost. So the pressure is finally starting to get in. Storm on the high ground. Storms the tanks on the high ground going down. But not much of an advancement is made from Braingod. Templars turning into Archons. Adding on a couple of more Stargates in his base. Preparing himself for the Corsairs to assist drops flying in. Now he also starts adding on more robotic facilities finally. But his gas is quite low and he's only mining from 4 simulators. He's already making it. He's not making an expo there. Right, shuttles have been loaded up. He sends his units in. He's now dropping Zealots on top of the tanks. Target focusing the tanks. The front has been broken. But the Templars will be the deciding factor. He gets a good storm off, kills about 10 Marines, 2 storms, killing about 50 Marines in total. But the bunkers staying alive and force these Dragoons to pull away. So Braingod once again does some bio damage, killing Marines and a single tank, takedowns a single depot. But winds up not making that much of an advancement on Daegulife. Daegulife still hanging in there tightly and securely. Braingod now trying to focus down these depots, but the tank is within range to take them down. So Braingod now decides to pull back, doesn't want to lose those Dragoons, as the tanks on the high ground and the tank behind the bunkers are zoning them away. I'll admit, Braingod's advances, like sometimes you go for a specific strategy and it just doesn't work out. And in this case, his strategy has not worked out all that well. He is ahead in supply of Daegulife, but his economy is smaller than I would love it to be, because he's only on 61 probes. And his minerals are staying quite low. He's unable to max out quickly and efficiently. And if Daegulife manages to hold on for just a little while longer, he might be able to go on the counterattack, although Braingod is now once again producing probes, so he is expecting and preparing himself to get bigger. Drop here in the top side of the map, but it's just hanging as of yet. Another drop has been loaded up and it's gonna come in from the south side, so there will be 2 directions, 2 locations Daegulife will have to focus on, and he focuses on the top side, now he focuses on the bottom drop. Bottom drop is a distraction drop, the real drop is coming in from the top side. Templars being dropped on the low next to the command centers, but nothing of significance gets stormed, although he does take down these tanks, takes down a couple of Marines, and now SFVs back on the minerals. No SFVs lost there, so that's a really great bit of persevering from Daegulife. Daegulife managing to hang in there, but his base is quite small. Dark Templar is being made. I assume he has mind control finished already. His upgrades are currently on 001, but every single upgrade for ground forces are on the way. Daegulife repositioning his units around his base, preparing himself for the incoming drop. Drop is gonna fly in from the top side, and no second drop has been loaded up inside the base, so he's just gonna use this one single drop. He splits up his shuttle, he drops units on the high ground to kill the tank there. He manages. Oh, the SCV is getting blocked out. But the fact that these SCVs get blocked out and bugged in between the barracks winds up making no difference at all, as Braingod misses the storm and SCVs stay alive. Daegulife might want to lift that barrack here to prevent it from happening in the future. That's something that just happens on this map. Units getting stuck in between buildings. I'm not sure what causes it, but I assume it has to do with pathing. Like the line is right about here, then they try to go up and on the bottom right at the same time. Now huge drop coming in from the top side. Dragoons here gonna take down the turrets while they have vision over the hill. Smart move. Units being dropped next to the command center. Storm comes out on Marines, misses the SCVs. But there's another Templar here with energy. Alright, he gets a second storm off and kills 7 SCVs. But Daegulife holds on, doesn't die, stays alive. Where's the Dark Templar? There's the Dark Templar. He's already making his second drop. This drop is definitely gonna come in and deal some real damage, because this time he loaded up all of the shuttles, so there's a lot more units in there ready to attack. There's one single shuttle that's empty in there. I assume he's gonna drop here on the top side and kill those depots. I'm not too sure. He might also go for the minerals. He's got a lot of options here. The upside of keeping these shuttles alive, if he decides to keep them alive, is that he can load up those Dragoons. Alright, drop comes flying in, hits the minerals, and units now dropping out right on top of the SCVs. And he gets a good storm off, and the SCVs once again get stuck behind the barracks and don't escape with their lives. Instead, he kills all the SCVs. Daegulife now in a very bad spot. Daegulife decides to tap out because he knows that he cannot come back from this. So he did. Braingod keeps the pressure on Daegulife. Daegulife unable to keep expanding onto his base because he has to keep pulling off his SCVs from his minerals, which slows down mining. Unable to keep expanding. Minerals low all the time. And pretty decent game from Braingod, I assume. Because beating a player like Leebokgu, aka called SCV, aka Daegulife, within 14 minutes is a good display. But the game didn't look as clean or as magnificent or fascinating as I assumed it would. But in the end, he manages to deal damage. And Daegulife is incapable of avoiding the damage in the end. Held on bravely. Some sweet moves. But in the end, it all came down to this barrack here blocking his SCVs. And he decided against lifting up the barrack. Like, that's something you should immediately do. Once you notice that your units are getting blocked somewhere, like if you dodge a drop with your probes and they get blocked behind the pylon, kill the pylon. Open up a path. If you're Zerg and your drones get stuck behind Sunkens, kill one of those Sunkens to open up a path that they can go through so they don't get stuck. Because your opponent will at some point notice that your workers are getting stuck somewhere, and it gives them a very, very easy target to storm on. Just as your minerals are a very easy target and you have to dodge. Please open up a path so you can dodge storms and stay alive. That's the main pickup from this game, because I think Daegulife did everything really well. Like, he held on to his front really well. He did lose the top side here, but that's not something he can do much against. He dodged the drops really well, kept his SCVs alive for the longest time. I even dare say that Braingod was playing a weak game here. Because I honestly think that if this game had gone on like this, I think Daegulife could have taken home the win. This was definitely a weak game from Braingod. He even lost a bunch of probes there at the end, although it didn't really end up mattering all that much. Gonna rewind just quick so I can see him losing those probes there at the end. Because there was a tank drop coming out from Daegulife there near the end that I decided not to focus on because of the attack happening. So here comes the tank drop, and just end up he drops on two sides at the same time. So that's actually a really, really good move. And I actually think that if there's the drop, and that happening at the same time as the fight here, and I honestly think that Daegulife didn't have to leave the game there. Although there's still a bunch of zealots and dragoons up here that I assume Braingod would have picked up and flown over the hill to drop in this area and keep the pressure up on Daegulife, as if he's also there. But I honestly think that Daegulife could have extended the game, because he did kill about 35, maybe 36 probes that ma2fa2 had, and that would have completely ruined any follow-up attempt from Braingod. Though Braingod does have these units here, so he already did have the units ready for a follow-up attack. And I'm not sure whether Daegulife had enough units to defend himself with, although all these bunkers are filled up. He could have unloaded them and relocated those units wherever he needs them to be. So the game actually, I think, ended prematurely. But maybe it's the pressure that Daegulife was feeling playing against a player that's technically better than him. Although Braingod didn't really show that he was better in this game. Because honestly, at this point into the game, even though he only has 10 SCVs left, they're pretty much even, in my opinion. But that's up for someone else to decide whether they actually were or weren't. Enough rambling here at the end. I'm going to end the game right now. And I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was also a bit informative for your own gameplay. And if it wasn't, oh, well, I tried. Goodbye.